What's up, guys? This is Wesley from New Age Builds. So the last two videos we discussed of basically building a all-around riding mower for the woods, mud pits, racing. Went over an engine swap with you guys. Showed y'all the rear tire setup on it, how to mount a four-wheeler rack on the back of one. Putting a bush guard on the front, because we all know we're going to be hitting saplings and getting into some tall weeds, and it helps kind of clear a path so you can see when you ride. But in this video, we're going to be discussing a little bit about the family go-kart, which is a Manco go-kart. I don't exactly know what year it was built, but I bought it from an individual last year for about $125. When I got it, it didn't have a belt on it. It was smoked. So basically what I did was I found a belt. I grabbed a power washer engine, which is a 6-horse Generac motor, which is about the same platform as the Tecumseh that came off of it. We put it on there and we took it around the yard one time, and it didn't feel right. Felt like it was really underpowered for what the motor really was. And when I brought it back into the shop, I found out the wheel bearing for the live axle that was on it was completely just detonated. It blew the axle tubing apart, and it caused a very big issue. So what I wound up doing on it was taking out the axle tube, completely cutting out the whole bottom end of the mower, and fabbing up a new setup with a 30 series torque converter from Amazon. Everybody says that the Go Power Sports torque converters are a lot better. I agree with them, but when you're on a budget as strict as mine, you can try to go bare bone. I wound up having to get a new belt for it, and because the one that came with it just didn't last. It literally flipped over and it just blew completely apart. So we got a little bit better belt, and it seems like it's holding up a lot better than the original. We've rode this thing for probably 8-9 hours. Not in one setting, but just across a couple weeks period. But the axle I went into replacing it with is not your normal axle. It's usually everybody replaces a go-kart axle with a live axle. Well, on this one, because it was for the family, I didn't want that, where it's going to spin around on them and cause it to tip a little bit, because we have a lot of uneven ground where I live at. So what I wound up putting in was a differential axle, which basically is one of these. So on a differential axle, you'll actually see that I can actually spin both sides of this in opposite directions. But whenever the chains actually pull on this, it's actually acting as a locker if you have decent, pressure across each side. So if this side was completely locked, I could actually sit here, turn this, and it'll actually turn the sprocket. And vice versa, if I hold this one solid, this one right here will cause it to spin. It is not a limited slip axle. I thought it was, but it wasn't. It's actually it's kind of like your differentials in a vehicle. You actually have a pin that goes through and through, and it has 2 gears on it. Each axle is also geared this way. So when this spins, it's actually causing the spider gears to rotate like this, and thus bringing one of these axles forward with it. So if you have a motor, it could turn a lot of RPMs and has a lot of horsepower, you could essentially do a one-wheel peeler, and when you let out of it, it would actually lock both sides down because of equal pressure, and you could actually go from a one-wheel peel to two-wheel peel. That's the theory. But with as geared down as I have this go-kart, it's for my 5-year-old son and my wife. They're pretty much the only two that run it most of the time. I have a couple family members that ride it around, and I wanted something that was going to be reliable and safe for them. There's been a lot of accidents around my area with people with four-wheelers and people with dirt bikes. And I was like, well, you never hear of many people getting hurt or dying from a go-kart in a yard. Especially when they're only, under 20 miles an hour, something reasonable. So I'm going to show you guys what I've done to this, what I plan to do to this. There's a lot more stuff I need to get done to it to really, be able to go for long periods of time with it. And other than that, it's been a great go-kart, and throw me some ideas of what you guys think, and I'll consider them. Like I said, just remember, this is for my family. It's not going to be, something I go 80, 90 miles an hour with on the road. It's just for yard play. So give me an idea of what you guys think. Okay, guys. So you can see down here that where the original piping was, here, and over here. So what I did was cut all this out. I brought the tubing and stuff that was originally on this and just dropped it, pitched it. It was no longer good. What I wound up doing was taking 2 pieces of bed rail, believe it or not, and drilling hole here, hole here, hole here, hole up there, and laying it across this whole upper tubular structure. And then the engine plate that I found, I mounted up here. This was for a Vanguard 17 horse Briggs. So I had to re-drill holes, re-slot them for the smaller motor, which is this Generac motor. That way I could mount it down. I had to drill 4 additional holes on each side of the plate to lock it in. So now I can actually adjust from my stock mounting bolts. This is the 30 series torque converter I got from Amazon. Like I said, it's been pretty reliable as far as the components is concerned, but the belt is really holding up on this one. Like I said, the original blew apart. Everybody said that the belts were junk, so I wound up updating the belt on this. And this is the differential axle that we put in. The differential axle actually came with like a 32 tooth sprocket. I actually upgraded it to a 54-inch sprocket because when it would take off, it took a long time for this to really take off. Plus, I didn't want to wind up smoking the belt on the torque converter. We put a manual caliper on it. I had to put return springs for the caliper in a really weird section of the body. It works sometimes, doesn't, and sometimes it doesn't. I think it's still not in adjustment correctly. It's something I'm going to have to tinker with. Other than that, the only real major part I've been having with this is getting chain tension correct. So what I'm going to wind up doing is putting a tensioner in to hold tension on my chain. Because when this starts getting sloppy, it's actually wanting to hit my backing plate to this, and it's also wanting to rub across the backside of my clutch. So once I get correct tension on that, I think I'll be in the clear as far as that's concerned. I went ahead and did some backyard mods of this. This is actually a header pipe off of a 12 horse single piston Briggs. It was an IC motor. So what I wound up doing was I actually had to slot one of these holes here, and I was actually able to put it on. And then I took a pipe coupler that would go down to a stock exhaust, which we can see the exhaust is no longer here because it fell off. That's something that needs to be addressed. But I wound up welding this coupler to it so I can thread in my exhaust without which exhaust that I want to have. Plus, if you know, whenever you take restriction out of a motor, it flows better. You get a little bit more horsepower out of it. I got a new carburetor. Well, it wasn't a new carburetor, but it was a carburetor off of a mini four-wheeler. It's a Mikuni carburetor. I think it's a 22 millimeter carb. It didn't exactly bolt up to it like I originally had planned. I had to slot it a little bit. Like I said, it was just something I pulled off of something. It's not something I spent money on. And I didn't exactly know if it was going to work for this type of application. But now that I know it does, this is actually tilted. instead of it being level, it's actually tilted back at about 15 degrees or so. So we need to make a tube that will actually adapt this carburetor to this motor correctly and actually set it back level so the bowl is not set at a weird angle and we're getting proper fuel flow going through. Okay, so I'm going to start the motor up for you guys, let you hear how it sounds. This will be probably a little loud over the iPad. It's, like I said, it's unmuffled. But it does run a little quiet under idle, but whenever you really get on it, I mean, it's loud as hell. But here we go. That's basically about it on it. The tires that I put on it are actually lawnmower tires, and instead of mounting them the correct way, we actually deep dished it. The valve stems are actually on the insides of the tires in the back. The gentleman I bought it from, he used to run it on the road a lot, so we can kind of see that over quite a few years of driving this thing, it has literally wore these front tires completely out. But as far as everything goes, I mean, it's got some paint blemishes. I mean, like, it's being driven, guys. I want to, instead of using the manual caliper, I actually have a hydraulic caliper that came off of this old mini four-wheeler. This mini four-wheeler actually burnt up. When it started up, it arced. The starter arced and caused the fuel to catch on fire that was kind of dripping out of the overflow bowl. So it destroyed the plastic, it destroyed a lot of the electronics, actually melted the head on top of it. So basically what I've been doing is using it as parts. This is actually what the four-wheeler rack came off of. And I'm actually getting ready to utilize the front spindles that came off of it, and we're going to put them on that lawnmower. That's for a further video. There is mounts for this thing for overhead lights and down there for front light. So I want to be able to put a bar light on top and then a single light down there. One of them being, not so bright, and then the top two come on and, makes everything bright. Alright guys, so that's going to conclude this video. I know I didn't work on anything in this one. I was just kind of giving y'all a review of what I've done to this one. I'm going to be going out this weekend and taking the lawnmower and the go-kart out. I'm going to show y'all what the lawnmower is capable of at this point. And then we're going to do a before and after video with this go-kart. I might be considering putting a live axle in it at one point in the future. But I really want to get the hydraulic brake hooked up on it just so, they have a lot better braking on it. We're going to at least get the tensioner installed before we do this. There'll be I'll be making some clips of that before we go up there. Other than that, the next video, I'm going to try installing the hydraulic brake. And then I'm pretty much going to have it ready for the lights. I mean, it's already kind of ready for the lights, but I don't know exactly if this motor has a charging system on it. I need to take the flywheel and the cover off of it to see if it does have that. If it does have that, we'll be able to run the charging system to a battery, and then from the battery, we'll be able to run up to the lights and the relay and a switch. But if it doesn't have a relay, I'm either going to have to A, replace the motor with one that does, or B, we're just going to put a straight 12-volt battery on it, and we're just going to, whenever we need it, we'll just flip it on, and then when it dies, we'll just charge the battery, and then we'll throw it back on. But I don't think that's going to be near as reliable as being able to charge it while we're going. If you guys are still new to me, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell. Just like I said in the first couple of videos, I'm still starting out. I really don't have a lot going on. It's really tight with money at the moment. But hopefully over the winter, things will pick up a little bit, and I'll be able to get things at ease with my financial situation. But I want to be able to start really getting into some of my other builds that I have going on. I'll bring you guys in on those, show you all what I'm doing there. So for the meanwhile, we're not really going to show hardly anything. This video, like I said, I don't know if I do this. The next one may be a new, fresh build from start to finish for you guys. It's something I've had going on in my head for a little bit. And I have almost all the stuff to do it, but I just don't know if I want to start it now or do something else before that. That way I can get a couple more videos out to you guys. Comment below. Tell me what you think of the channel so far, guys. Every little bit helps as far as comments are concerned. If y'all have any questions on any projects you're all doing, just comment below. And I'm even on Facebook. It's Wesley Beasley Best on Facebook. I'm on the main mud mower page. I'm on Mud Mowers from Hell. I'm on almost all those. So if you have any questions, just kind of find me and just IM me or just post something to my wall. I'm open to everything, guys. I'm happy to help everybody that has questions. If you're doing something that you don't quite understand and you're just flat out stuck, just IM me, and I may even call you guys to kind of give you all, how to, what I know to do. So as far as that's all concerned, guys, that's all I have for this one. I'll see you all on the next video, and hopefully I'll have some footage from the little run that we're going to have. So this is Wesley at New Age Builds. See you guys next time.